If you had asked me in 2021, how much should you budget to roof your 4-bedroom bungalow? I'm talking about woodwork and stone coated roofing sheets with PVC water collector inclusive. I would have said, if you'd asked me in 2021, I would have said maybe 2.3, 2.4, 2.8 million, and it will be enough. We're talking about woodwork alongside with the roof tiles and the water collector or rain gutter. But fast forward to 2024, you already know what the situation is. So that amount will be nowhere near what you're looking for. Now let's break it down. Let's talk about why it's going to be enough. If you are talking about aluminum roofing sheet, you are using a flat roof and all that, that's a factor. So we are not talking about aluminum roofing sheet and flat roof, we are talking about stone coated roof tiles. And we're talking about a 4-bedroom bungalow right now. For a 4-bedroom bungalow, first of all, let me show you the quotation we gave to this client in Accra. And with this quote, you could see that there are so many factors that are in play right now to determine how much he was spent for his 4-bedroom bungalow, which he spent actually. One of these factors is the building location. So, if you are building your house maybe in the village or in rural areas, the cost of wood in rural areas are usually cheaper when compared to the cost of wood in urban areas. So, like someone that is roofing his house in Lekki, you're not expecting the person to buy wood at the same amount as the person roofing his house in Kodu or the more rural areas generally. Building location is a factor. Now, I've spoken with most of the carpenters that we work with. In fact, the particular carpenter that did this topic, I spoke with him extensively, and I sought his opinion on what do you believe is the major criterion that influenced the price or the overall cost of this woodwork. Because I'm saying 2,384,000 naira quote. So what would you say is the major factor that influences this? And he said the primary factor that influences this is the wood specification. Now, when we talk about wood specification, we are going to look at three things when we talk about wood specification. We're going to look at the wood type and quality. If you are using hardwood or softwood, okay, depending on where you're watching this video from, if you're in the east, the north, the west, they have different names. They give hardwood and softwood in various regions. So, but let me use the proper English names. So if you're using hardwood or softwood, hardwoods are usually more expensive than softwood, and they're usually more durable. Okay, so those are factors that will affect the overall cost. So the softwoods are usually less expensive when compared to the hardwood. So the availability of the hardwood and softwood in your local market is also going to determine what you are buying and the cost of the wood you are getting. And then another factor that will determine how much you spend overall is the wood size and the quality. Okay, so if you are buying 2x6, if there are lots of 2x6 for your roof, and or maybe 2x4, 2x3, 2x2, all these things, just looking at the quotation that I've displayed now, you discover that the 2x6 is way more expensive than 2x4, which is more expensive than 2x3, and so on and so forth. So all these things are major criteria that will affect the total cost that you take to or the overall cost of your woodwork. When we talk about wood specification, we are looking at the type and the quality of the type of the wood, the quality of the wood, and whether it's treated or not treated. Another thing to look at that affects the overall cost of your woodwork is the roofing material you intend to use, like I pointed out. So if you are using aluminium, okay, that means definitely you are going to be using less wood. The quantity of wood you'll be using will not be as much as one that is using a stone coated roof tiles. So for someone that is intending to use stone coated roof tiles, like in the case of our client here, Milano roofing sheet, you will need more wood, and the king post will have to be high. When I talk about the king post, I'm talking about the highest vertical distance from the beam or the base of the roof to the top. So the king post will have to be high to allow a proper runoff of water. When you are planning to roof your house, you now have to decide: am I using stone coated roofing sheet? Am I using aluminum roofing sheet? Am I even using zinc? So if you are using stone coated roof tiles, you are going to spend way more money on wood than someone using aluminum roofing sheet or someone using zinc. Another important factor that we tend to overlook is building size. The size of the building, which is even, I think, a very, very important factor. And if you come to Lagos, or in Lagos, the houses here are not as big as the houses in other parts of Nigeria, like maybe in Ogun State or even Ondo State or Enugu or Edo State. So you see that most of the clients in Lagos try to manage land space and all those things. And this, on the long run, affects the overall cost they use to roof their house. So when I spend, let's say, 1.8 million naira for woodwork in Lagos, the same person that spent 1.8 million naira for woodwork in Lagos might end up spending 2.4 or 2.3 million naira for woodwork in Akure, because their houses in Akure are more spacious. So the bigger it is, definitely the more wood we are going to use, which will definitely affect the overall cost. Another factor that will affect the overall cost of the woodwork is the workmanship and transportation. So how experienced, especially if you are doing stone coated roof tiles, how experienced is your carpenter? If your carpenter is not experienced, you're wasting your time. Better tell the person to do the aluminium or zinc that he knows how to do. Don't look for, oh, I found it cheaper somewhere else or this and that, and then be paying. Look for someone that will collect 100,000 or 50,000 from you to construct stone coated woodwork, and the person will end up doing something that, in fact, you will pay times 10 on the long run for, because correcting and all those things. So it is very, very important to look for someone that has experience, proven experience, and expertise with stone coated woodwork construction. So for this 4-bedroom budget bungalow, the client spent 2,384,000 naira to construct the woodwork. Okay, so and the house is quite big and it has lots of resets. You discover that it's a 72 feet by 42 feet, I believe, and the king post of the building is 22 feet as opposed to the 15 feet that we usually use for calculation or giving estimate. Because when I calculated it initially for the client, what I used to calculate was 15 feet. But when the carpenter got to the site and saw the amount of pieces and others, he said, no, 15 feet will not work. And he used 22 feet to construct the king post. So you see why I said you should not be scared. So your house, your 4-bedroom might not have lots of resets, and it might not you might not have to spend as much as 2,384,000. This, I think, should be one of the highest you spend, depending. So we have done woodworks of 1.4 million naira, 1.5 million naira, even as of October. So you see that this is a little high because of the size of the building, which is one thing I also pointed out as a factor that affects the overall cost for woodwork. Now, good. Let's talk about the overall cost for the roofing sheet itself. Look at the invoice for the roofing sheet. Let me give you a little bit of time to go through it. You see that the overall square meter the client uses is 550 square meters. Somebody might ask, what if we inflated it? Now we don't do that here. And we try as much as possible to tell our clients, confirm that what we have supplied is what we have stated we are going to supply. So the client will, or he will send somebody to count it on his behalf and confirm that the roof tiles are just as specified. So for stone coated roof tiles, we say 550 square meters, you multiply it by 2, then you get the total quantity of roof tiles that will be on site. So yeah, we supply 550 square meters for this building. Now let's talk about the roofing materials, the Milano stone coated roofing sheet. So looking at the invoice, we discover that they spent over 4 million naira for the Milano stone coated roofing sheet, and 4.8 million naira. And one major factor that will influence the price of the roofing material is the price of the actual price of the roofing material. For instance, when he actually paid for made deposit, for initial deposit for the material, it was when the roofing material was at the rate of 6,300 per square meter. But along the line, the square meter became 6,800 naira, I think, a few months later. But he already made deposit, so it did not really affect him, except for the extra couple of square meters he bought to supplement it, which he paid for at the current market price. So if we are making budget, we tell our clients that we accept deposit. You could actually come to the factory, or in his own case, you don't even need to come to the factory because the client is not actually based in Nigeria. So, but he trusted that he was dealing with a legit company, he paid it to the company account, he gave him invoice and all that. So when he was ready, we supplied the roofing material and installed. So you can actually follow the same process for yours. And lastly, for the rain gutter, or some people call it water collector, he spent around 780,000 naira for that. The rain gutter simply, most people put rain gutter to collect rain and direct it properly to the ground, instead of having a water splash on the building and all this, the wall of the building and all that. So you collect it directly from the roof and then through the pipe, through the rain gutter collector itself, then down to the pipe and all that. Further, you see that I spent around 641,000 naira for the water collector, and by the time you calculate the cost for the water collector, the cost for the roofing materials, the cost for the woodwork, you see that our client spent a weekly sum of 7,800,000 plus to roof his building, his 4-bedroom bungalow in Akure. So we are looking at the transportation from Lagos. We are looking at the installation fee of our installers from Lagos. We are looking at uh, the construction of the woodwork by our carpenters. They are also from Lagos. Overall, the client chose quality and we got quality. You can see the video of building and the before and after process. So to give you a review. Um, Thanks for watching so far. Remember, for updated prices of all our products, stone coated roofing sheets, aluminum roofing sheets, PVC water reflector roofing sheets, you can find them on our website. We have also written a blog on this particular about this particular project, so you could actually read about it on our website as well. The link will be in the description below. You could also read more blogs about other projects on our website, or you could also see our portfolio for projects we have completed on our TikTok page, our Facebook, or Instagram handle, and then you will give us a follow on each of these platforms. If you want to reach me directly, my name is Michael Chibuzo. You could reach me on WhatsApp via the number displayed on your screen. You could also call me directly for questions and I will answer. But mostly I prefer WhatsApp. I will also be able to answer WhatsApp calls. Thank you very much.